You guys have been requesting some 6-deck card counting practice. That's what we're going to be doing today. I have a 6-deck shoe ready to go for us. We have a card counter that's going to be playing these two spots along with two ploppies that are going to be playing these two spots just flat betting. Let's say it's going to be a $50 minimum table. That way it's easy to pay out blackjacks 3-2 with 3 chips, 3 green chips to 2 green chips here. Our card counter, however, they're going to be playing the minimum of 50, anything below a true count of +1. At a true count of +1, we're going to go from one spot of 50 to at a true two spots, excuse me, of $100. That's going to represent a true 1, kind of that many $100 chips. So this would be a true 2 spots of 200, all the way up to a true 5 is going to be where we're maxing out at 2 spots of 500. All right, they are going to start with $5,000. Hopefully that's enough to get us going through 3 rounds. Each round is going to be a little bit faster. We're going to start at 1 times speed, and then 1.25 speed, and then 1.5 speed for the third shoe here. Also, just so you know, I'm not rigging this in any way. I'm going to take the first chunk of cards, give them just a quick riffle shuffle, some strips, and that way the rest of the cards behind it should be out of any kind of order that I would have put them in. All right, I got a burn card. We'll throw into the discard tray. I have a discard tray cam set up for you over here. That we can judge the discard tray correctly. As with 6 decks, it's a little bit trickier compared to double deck, which I have going weekly on my Patreon if you're unaware. So you can check that out if you'd like. Otherwise, you guys ready to count? I'm gonna let you do the counting. I'll kind of shut up and let you do it. Ready, get set. Let's count. All right, let's see if our count was right. I am gonna write mine down just so you believe me. There we go. All right, this plus the burn card should be the opposites of what ours is. Let's count it out. Here we have 1, 0, D1, 0, D1, D2, D1, 0, D1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 1, 0, D1, D2, D3, D2, D1, 0, and still 0. So this was 0. We also need a count of 0 if our bets and count were correct, and it was. All right, I'm gonna get this shuffled up here for round number 2. All right, got the cards all shuffled up, and then I was only cutting off just a little bit less than the deck, so we got lots of reps in. So if you're really interested there, I'll turn it. That's what it looks like. Okay, I'll throw those into the shoe. Get a burn card. Throw that into our discard tray. Still have our discard tray camera out over here for you. We'll start back with our minimum bets. Looks like we're up as the card counter currently, which is always good. Actually, everyone's up a little bit. Okay, got our minimum 50s out there. By the way, if you have like a $10 minimum 6-deck table, you could, play along with your own piles of chips. Maybe you have $5 chips or something that maybe is a little bit more realistic for your bankroll. All right, don't think of these as like 50 bucks. Think of it just as like 2 chips or whatever unit maybe you're using. It's just a made-up bet spread, nothing special about it, but you can do that on your own. If you don't have chips, by the way, you can go to casinosupply.com, use code A1BJ to get 10% off your chips, your discard trays, your shoes, anything like that. I like the Monte Carlo chips personally. That's what I use. They have a nice weight to them. It feels nice and sturdy when you're playing. So anyway, casinosupply.com, use code A1BJ for 10% off your blackjack needs. All right, round 2, let's count. All right, there was the cut card. Again, I'm gonna write down my count. Hopefully yours is the same as mine and that we're both right. Okay, again, this plus the burn card should be opposite of what our count is. Let's see if we're right. We have 0, 1, 0. That's not true. We have 0, 1, still 1, 0, 1, 0, D1, 0, D1, 0, D1, D2, D1, D2, D1, D2, D1, D2, D3, D4, D5, D4, D3, D2, D3, D2, D1, 0, 1, and 2. This was plus 2, so we need a count of minus 2, which is the opposite. Card counter did not do well that time. I think at one point we had a true plus 4 out there, which was 2 spots of $400. We lost it. The time before that, we lost 2 spots of $300. So that's kind of how it goes sometimes. Hopefully get it back this next time. All right, so just like last time was a little bit faster at 1.25 speed, this one's gonna be at 1.5 speed. If you can't quite keep up with that, that's fine. All right, you might want to go back and maybe just pick a pile or something and just watch that and try to emulate it with your chips and counts and things and see if you can, count along. You kind of get 3 at each of those different speeds. That's what I'm kind of hoping for here for you. Anyway, I got a burn card in the discard tray. Still have our discard tray camera up. One other thing is I'm thinking about starting a series that is kind of like this, where I count along using 6-deck, and I might even put some early access on my Patreon. If you would be interested in something like that, maybe let me know down below in the comments, or if there's a little tweak to this that you want. This is kind of a trial run, you might say. But anyway, we have our minimum bets of 50 for each. I'm running out of green chips here, so hopefully we can make it all the way through. Or maybe we can't, that might be better, so we can get lots of wins. But anyway, here we go. This is round number 3, 1.5 speed. Let's count. All right, there's the cut card. We'll count this up here in a second to see if we're right. But first off, just so you know, these guys, what they started with, we'll do the 2 ploppies and then the card counter. Don't think it went as well for the card counter. At one point I had to give this guy a black chip because he ran out of greens, so I'll give him 4 greens that way. It started with 2 piles of 10s, so 20 chips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops. 5, 10. So he actually was up 1 chip after all that, up $25. This dude, I think this is in piles of 10. So he is up 10 and not quite. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 17 chips for him. And our card counter started with 5 of those, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then yeah, he also had 2 stacks of this one, so we have what, 4 of that, so we're down 16 green chips for our card counter. Again, that middle one where our count was really high, we just had some bad variance there and lost a few of those bigger bets when there was, you know, several $100s out, and so that's kind of the big difference. Also, I've said this several times before, is a lot of times if you have, like, let's say you're playing with green chips, but then your big bets come out with the black chips, you probably will more than likely lose some of those minimum bets. All right, so like your green chips, that's why that happened in this case. In fact, at one point I took a $500 chip and converted it, but then I put it back as I had more black chips than what I started with there. So it kind of makes sense as to why you lose these in negative counts and you gain those in positive counts. All right, anyway, what you're probably concerned about is the count. So again, this plus the burn cards, the opposite. Hopefully you held on to your count that whole time. A little exercise for you there. We have 0, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, D1, 0, 1, 2, 1, 0, and D1. All right, so this was -1. We needed a count of +1 there at the end, and yeah, that's what I had as well. So hopefully your counts were right. I think my count was right. And again, let me know down below in the comments if you would like to see a series that does some 6-deck counting like this with the card counter and some ploppies. Otherwise, guys, until next time, remember, this is A1 Blackjack.